This is the story of how the disappearance of the Zoom Zoom Kid nearly bankrupted Mazda. From 2000 to 2006, Mazda saw unprecedented growth, and this can be largely attributed to the Mazda Zoom Zoom ads. More specifically, the way the Zoom Zoom Kid whispers the phrase "Zoom Zoom" in the ads. His personable yet secretive demeanor created great intrigue in the brand. The ads were so successful that at some points Mazda was having trouble keeping up with demand, and from March 2003 to 2004, the company saw a 23% growth. But just why were the early Zoom Zoom ads so well received? You see, in the early 2000s, people were starting to feel disconnected from brands, and through multiple focus groups, it was determined that consumers wanted to see more barren landscapes in commercials. And for Mazda, it just happened to be a complete accident. They didn't know that having a kid walking through a barren landscape in a suit would make their ad a hit. They just happened to put a kid walking through a barren landscape in a suit, and it just worked. Even the car company Kia got in on the action, but their ads weren't as well received, as even though they had cars driving in a barren landscape, they were missing a crucial part: the kid wearing a suit. That's like filing your taxes as someone who's self-employed but forgetting to enter your business expenses on your T2125. However, the success was shortly lived, as by early 2006, the Zoom Zoom Kid had abruptly disappeared from Mazda ads, sending many fans of the commercials to create their own theories of what had happened. Some said it was all a cover-up for a tragic accident that happened on set. While doing donuts in a Mazda 6, the stunt driver lost control of the vehicle and was said to have gone spinning directly into the dirt bank where the Zoom Zoom Kid was standing. He only sustained minor injuries, but it was enough to create a rising tension between him and the Mazda ad team, an anonymous Reddit user wrote. Another fan said it was a contract dispute between the Zoom Zoom Kid's agent, who was asking for $1 million a year plus stock options, and Mazda wasn't willing to agree to the terms, so they walked. The story got so popular that even the media got involved, sharing their own theories, some on how the Zoom Zoom Kid wasn't even real from the start, and was created entirely by CGI. I have a theory, but I'll share it later on in the video. Mazda, in an effort to keep their brand image afloat, found a replacement Zoom Zoom voice, but by then the damage had been done. Many Zoom Zoom fans had voiced their concerns over how the Zoom Zoom had been demoted to the end of the ad, like an afterthought.
Zoom Zoom today, tomorrow.
Zoom Zoom.
The previous Zoom Zoom ads had so much personality. This is just sad. My money's going to Kia now, even though their creepy hamster ads aren't much better, said a distressed fan. Another fan started a petition that gained 47,000 signatures in just 12 days. It was clear that Mazda still liked the Zoom Zoom slogan, but were unaware of what they did wrong. Their ads just weren't hitting as hard as they used to. And this is where my theory comes in. The Zoom Zoom Kid wasn't CGI, AI, or a clone of the CEO of Mazda's son. He was just a regular person. But yet somehow, he became the highlight of the ads. People weren't watching it for the cars, they were watching it for the Zoom Zoom Kid. And while Mazda's brand awareness grew from 40% to 70%, the only thing they were being known as was the Zoom Zoom company. Nobody cared about their cars. So Mazda cut ties with the Zoom Zoom Kid in an effort to stop a branding disaster. However, little did they know that by doing so, they would suffer an even greater fate. In 2008, Ford, who at one point had controlling shares in Mazda at 33%, started disagreeing with the way Mazda was running the company, particularly the Zoom Zoom ads. You see, Ford was a big supporter of the Zoom Zoom ads. They even wanted to offer the Zoom Zoom Kid a job in some of their own Ford ads. However, the Mazda side of the business refused to share his contact info. It all eventually reached boiling point, and Ford ended up selling 2/3 of its shares, and as a result, Mazda's stock tanked. It was either that or, due to the 2008 recession, Ford needed cash quick and they sold their shares. What is for certain is that only Mazda really knows what happened to the Zoom Zoom Kid or where he is. I reached out to Mazda for comment, but they refused. The only thing I received in return was this cryptic document, which is why I ultimately decided to make this video in the first place. Sorry for the bad quality picture. I'm currently daily driving a Motorola G7 Plus. All the money I make off this channel is going directly back into making great content for you guys, so please don't forget to subscribe. But this is where the rabbit hole starts getting interesting and things get deeper. It actually gets very odd. What you are about to witness next is a collection of videos using police audio recordings and witness testimonies.
Ford hired me as a private investigator to find the Zoom Zoom Kid. They didn't have any good leads, but were willing to pay top dollar, so I agreed. He was last seen being driven off-set in a silver Miata. That was all I was given.
We received a call of a silver Miata driving recklessly along Highway 11. We pulled over the driver, who was alone in the vehicle. He complied with us, but didn't say a thing. Later that evening, a ripped black suit jacket was found along the sidewalk.
The guy had vanished. I spent the whole day running along rooftops. This was one of the hardest cases of my career.
It later turned out that the PI admitted to being paid off by Mazda and was being used as a double agent and had sabotaged the search effort to find the Zoom Zoom Kid. This was still in the midst of the 2008 financial crisis, and Ford didn't have any more money to spend on private investigators, certainly not cheap, unreliable ones, so they abandoned the effort. As a result, Ford decided their new marketing gimmick wouldn't involve people, and they made a really strong sign for metal that they could drop onto concrete. To this day, Ford is still cautious when hiring people for their ads, and is even more thorough when hiring private investigators. The Zoom Zoom Kid was eventually found. He's now a lawyer now, who, funnily enough, drives a Toyota. Tune in for my next video on how video essays are getting out of hand and can't be trusted.